And the seaweed.
And I'm going to call the meeting to order at 4:02, I guess it is.
3:02.
I mean, 3:02. So would you please call the roll, please?
Levers,
Here.
Gandalas, Campos,
Present from the San Jose location.
Marks,
Here.
Abe Koga, Vega,
Here.
Young.
Supervisor Young's running a little bit late. How should she let the group know that she's in attendance?
Well, she's not actually in attendance till she jumps online here.
Yes. So is it a verbal, like I'm in the office?
I think she'll come up, her picture, there's room for her.
Okay, thank you.
So, and we'll acknowledge when she's here. Next item is report from the chair, which is myself, and I don't have anything to report at this time. Thank you, though. But next is a report from the Public Advisory Commission, and that would be Reed. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
I am Reed Lerner. I'm Chair of the Public Advisory Committee. We met on Thursday, May 1st, and we talked about 3 of the items that are on today's docket as well, which are items 1, 5, and 6. And one thing I did bring with me is a good piece of good news, which is the VTA is starting to hire engineers to build new wildlife crossings out at Pacheco Pass and Coyote Valley. And I think that's pretty exciting.
Mhm.
And it's my understanding that some of the money from our organizations can help build that. Is that correct?
Pacheco Pass.
Pacheco Pass. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? No, good, thank you.
So Chair, we don't have quorum unless Young joins, because we
Okay.
need one person
Oh,
from each
okay.
jurisdiction. So maybe we can't take any action on that.
Okay.
I could do the EO report because there's no action on that.
Okay, what's that number?
That's the last, so I think it's the last one.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I do need it.
number 9, yes.
Okay,
So I can kill a little time with this.
okay.
So just gonna go over some of the year-to-date financials. This is hot off the press, so my presentation's a little dated, my budget presentation. And I can give the budget presentation too, because at the end, there's the, the action, but at least I can go through the presentation.
Okay.
So financial overview as of the 13th. So we have over $9 million in the local agency investment fund through the treasurer's department. And that's referred to as also LAIF, you may know it at. It's a local government investment opportunity, which usually gives you a much better interest rate than just putting it in a bank account or similar type investment. We also have an endowment, which when our permit sunsets in 40 years, that'll pay for in perpetuity management of all the reserve lands that we're acquiring. We have 8.5 million in that. It's very similar to your 401k. So it's it's been going up and down quite a bit lately with the market, like our 401ks. We have a liquidity account, and that's we have that invested in some higher yielding CDs and pretty riskless investments. So I would view like the 9 million and nearly 3.3 million as kind of our war chest to rainy day fund. If there's a land purchase that comes up that, something we need to act on, those are funds we can access relatively quickly.
Okay.
We have just a little over 1.2 million in our operating account balance. So that's for doing our day-to-day stuff. So to date on revenues that we've received, so we have these covered project mitigation fees so a private or public project that needs Clean Water Act permitting and endangered species permitting. You have to pay fees for the streamlined process. And we have a little over 7 million in fees that we've gotten so far this year. And I should mention that the total balance for our investment accounts is nearly 21 million. We acquired the O'Connell Ranch property in Pacheco Pass area near Costa de Fruta. And we sold the house parcel and we received a little under 1.2 million for that. So we cleared 1.129 million by selling it to a private individual who now lives there. Interest and gain on our investment accounts at nearly 700,000. So this is on the LAIF account and liquidity account, the endowment and also so the grants to date for a lot of activities related to land management and restoration, we've received nearly 2.6 million in federal, state, and local grants, reimbursements. Lease income, which is primarily grazing, is so far today we've received around 111,000. And then reimbursements, property taxes and other miscellaneous, because when we buy land, it takes a while to go through the assessor's office to get the reimbursed for the taxes, and we're at 170,000. So total revenues to date are just under 12 million, 11,736,000. On the expense side, we're on a 2-year budget cycle. So the total that was anticipated, the total that was adopted was just under 8.2 million. We have spent 7.8 million to date. Remaining is 390, say around 320,000. So we'll end up spending probably a little bit less than what was the adopted budget. From the advocacy standpoint, Congressman Panetta made hey, I can stop by and say hello and visit one of your properties. So we took him out to the Lakeside Ranch on June 2nd.
He did come.
He did come. They called and said, hey, are you available this day? And
Oh, okay.
well, we made sure we had a jump.
Oh, okay. Next time I want to go because
I
they
know.
canceled on me before.
I know, yeah. So it was a very productive visit with the congressman. And we talked about some of the things going on in Washington and how it's affecting our agency with funding, and him potentially doing a joint letter with Congressman Calvert, which is a Republican from Riverside County. The Congressman Calvert is very supportive of HCPs and what we do. There's 2 of them in his district. A lot of the things we do get bipartisan support, but in the noise that's coming out of Washington, it just it's hard to get both sides to kind of collaborate, even if though intellectually and ideologically they might agree. It doesn't always translate. Took an advocacy trip with the California HCP Coalition on April 29th. So I went to Sacramento. I met with the staff of Assembly members Berman, Colera, and Pellerin. I also met with the staff of Senator Cortese, as well as Senators Limon and Calbardon. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And with the larger group, I also met with Megan Hurdle, Deputy Secretary for Biodiversity and Habitat. So she reports to Secretary Crowfoot directly. We advocated for a quick rollout of the Wildlife Conservation Board Prop 4 funds, promoted the benefits of NCCP's, Natural Communities Conservation Plans, and what we do, and they're important to the state's 30 by 30 biodiversity goals. We advocated for support for SB 427 to remove the 2030 sunset for the Habitat Conservation Fund. and support cap and fund trade monies to be used for NCCPs, kind of that working lands, natural lands component of the cap and trade program. So from the land acquisition standpoint, we closed on the third phase of the Richmond Ranch, which was in just slightly more than 1,200 acres. That was a 3,600 acre acquisition, and we worked with the Conservation Fund and County Parks to acquire that property. The first phase was we acquired 944 acres from the Conservation Fund in January 2024. County Parks acquired nearly 1,500 acres in April of that year. And then this was the final acquisition. So the Conservation Fund was able to go in and buy it quickly. And then as we did some fundraising and the county used their park charter fund, you know, we had enough time to do that and then purchase it from the Conservation Fund.
Excuse me, where exactly is the Richmond Ranch?
Richmond Ranch is off of San Felipe Road up in the foothills east of San Jose and Morgan Hill.
Okay.
It's not far from the Silver Creek subdivision, just down San Felipe Road.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So if you go up Metcalf and make a left, I can take you guys to a visit there if you go. Yeah. So we have 2 additional properties that we're in discussions with Post about. One is a large ranch west of here, and the other one is along the Pajaro River.
Okay, when you refer to post, is that the same as the PD?
No, sorry.
Okay,
Peninsula
'cause they-
Open Space Trust,
Say it again.
the Peninsula Open Space Trust.
Okay, because post is a school they go to be a police officer.
Oh, okay, no.
Thought maybe they're putting a shooting range out there. or
Yeah,
something.
possibly.
I don't know.
We do have a shooting range on one of our properties. But yeah, no, so they're non-government organization, local land trust that is really a great partner. They helped us buy Lakeside Ranch.
So,
In the Burrowing Owl program, we're in the 3rd year of owl reintroduction in Coyote Valley. To date over, to date, this year, through this year, 120 chicks have hatched across the entirety of the plant area. And some of those are wild birds, but a lot of them are the ones that we reintroduced to the area. And that's the end of my report. Any
thank you.
questions?
That's quite a report.
Thanks.
So that was item number 9.
That was 9.
Okay,
Mhm.
because I see we have quite a big presentation on this other item,
Yeah,
fiscal year.
yeah, the budget,
Mhm.
number 6.
Yeah, because I have some questions on that.
Okay.
So,
I
has that
have
other,
the supervisor join.
I don't see her.
Okay. I can, give that presentation
okay,
or
Do you think she'd want to see it?
Probably.
Make a motion, I would.
probably.
no, on consent, we move on to consent. I am gonna pull a couple of things, so I'll just tell you ahead of time, okay? We have no, on consent, are there any presentations? Only if we pull something, okay,
Yeah, I can
Okay.
address
okay.
I can address it if they're full.
So we just wait.
I guess.
There's cookies and coffee and water if anyone wants.
Is she on her way?
They have her set up. Just checking on Supervisor Young, do you anticipate when she will arrive?
Trying to figure that out. She's physically 5 minutes away, but wrapping up an event over there. She says she's on her way back, so I would imagine within the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I have no talent or I would do some entertainment.
No jokes. Our mayor's always full of jokes. He's good at that.
They would be bad dad jokes.
At that. Okay, I'm calling the meeting back to order at what time?
3:27.
3:27. Thank you. Friday, we're on the consent calendar and I'm actually gonna pull item number 3, number 3, and it's about the appointment to executive officer to appoint Alan Lerner to initial 4-year term on the PAC representing the environment community, replacing Abby Ranston. So could you just tell me a little bit about both these people?
Abby was with the Nature Conservancy
Okay.
and she moved to France.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
We'll let her go.
Yeah, let her go. Alan, I haven't met Alan personally,
Oh, okay.
but some of my staff have been working with him and he expressed an interest in being appointed to the PAC. We've been trying to recruit to replace Abby for how long, Denise? Year and a half?
Yeah, quite a while.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Really.
okay.
So it's been- we've had,
Well then,
yeah, we've done a lot of inquiries. We asked the Nature Conservancy if there were someone they would want to replace.
okay.
So Alan and his resume, I think, speaks for itself with his educational background in biology and conservation
Oh,
biology
excellent. Yeah, okay.
and his association with Stanford. And he was involved in the kind of the beginnings of creating the habitat plan, which predates me. And he's on the TAC, Technical Advisory Committee for Kirby Canyon landfill. I think from a biological side of things.
Okay, well,
So he doesn't come from, an environmental group, but he does come from, someone who, has that background of,
that sounds good.
understanding ecology and,
Yeah. Well, thank you for
yeah,
giving me a little background on that one.
yeah,
And they use the term PAC, P-A-C,
yes.
which is Political Action Committee. They're not that.
No.
It's a different way to use
Yes.
PAC. Okay.
uh,
It says Public Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, when I see PAC, that means,
Right.
something totally different to me.
No, no,
Okay.
yeah.
So I wanted to clarify that. Okay.
Yeah, I hadn't even associated the two until you said that, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, thank you for that information. Would someone like to move to approve that now that we have that? Or does anyone have any questions? Does the public want to say anything? Okay, does anyone here? Okay, I have a motion from Carol and,
I'll second that.
okay, and we have a second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
We have to do a roll
Oh.
call. since we have,
Okay, go for it.
Levers,
Aye.
Rebels,
Campos, aye.
Marks.
Aye.
Vega,
Aye.
Young,
Aye. Do they hear me?
yes.
That was it? Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Okay, we'll move to regular business. Okay, we have a draft operating budget. Number 6 on our agenda.
Yes, and I have a short presentation, well, not so short, but I'm gonna get through it quickly.
Get the-
Please stop me at any point if any of you have any questions, and I apologize to two of our members who had seen the same presentation at the governing board or the implementation board.
All
So
right.
But I apologize for that, or actually 3, because I think council member Campos was also at that meeting. So, but for those of you who haven't seen this yet, I'll try to be
You wanna take
concise
pictures?
and get through this. So,
Yes.
thank you.
Right now.
Great, thank you. So just, these are our primary program areas of, and I sort of wanted to talk a little bit about the accomplishments of the previous 2 years, which sort of set up what our goals and objectives will be for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So, program management, which is sort of more the administrative side of things, the financial side, land acquisition, monitoring and management, so managing and monitoring the lands that we acquire, wildlife connectivity, Western Burrowing Owl program, the restoration work we're doing in other program areas. Next slide, please. So from the finance side, this is our 10th consecutive successful audit. We hired a CPA to assist with all fiscal operations, which has really given me more capacity and kind of better budget support than we had previously. Continued the long-term fiscal sustainability of the agency. I talked a little bit about our investment accounts, and our total capital asset valuation is over 87 million, which is mainly in land. I mean, we got a couple trucks, but it's the land that we've acquired. So the fiscal year 2025 expenditures are on pace to be less than projected. I mentioned the O'Connell House. We secured nearly 62 million in grants over the past 2 years, and that's been primarily for land acquisition. And we started the process of changing invoicing and internal accounting software system. We're going to go to this system called MIP. Don't ask me what that means. Next slide, please. So program management, the staffing, we have 9 full-time and 2 part-time employees. We do focus employee training, power and training and our employees is important to me personally. We also have accounting, financial, and legal services support, which is done contractually, so they're not employees. Contracts with the consultants to help the land management team, and with some land transactions, we've used some brokers. And we also have them help. The big restoration projects are done by construction companies and design engineers. We successfully grew the land management team in parallel with the exponential increase of the reserve system. Next slide, please. So over the past 2 years, we've acquired nearly 10,000 acres of land. So we're now at just around 16,150 acres. And that lists some of the top properties we acquired. Calero is a county park, so we put a conservation easement over it. The county puts up land in lieu of the fees they would have to pay for impacts to county projects. So that site is, that's why that one's on there. So the Richmond Ranch, which I talked about earlier, and the Lakeside were the 2 biggest acquisitions, along with the O'Connell Ranch and on Pacheco Pass over the last 2 years. So over the past 2 years, Habitat Agency has secured over 57 million in grants for land acquisitions. And I have to say, without our support from our local, state, and federal partners, it's been very hard for us to acquire those number of acres, given the cost of land around here.
The Malik property acres, is that off Malik Road?
Yeah, good question. It's off of Pacheco Pass, same family. And we have a conservation easement, so they still own it, but there were 4, we had the right to build 5 houses out there and we purchased the development, right?
That's not
Yeah.
bad.
Next slide, please. This is a map of where all the properties are, and you can see we're clustering them in the Diablo Hills, which is, 1, 8, and 15. 15 is Richmond Ranch, and then quite a few around the Morgan Hill area. 9 is Calero Park, but the other ones are, 13, 10, and 6 and 3 are all just on the border of the county and where the county meets Morgan Hill. The closest property we have is right off of Hale. We have a sign there, so
Hale and what?
Hale and Tilton.
Okay.
Yep. That's the Baird Ranch, was part of Janet Burkhawk's property, if you two knew her at all in here. Yeah. Part of the Tilton family, the properties, yeah.
I know actually Janet.
Yeah, but you know Janet, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Next slide. This is some of the monitoring stuff we've done. One of the biggest things and one of the biggest expenses in management is putting in new fencing. Some of the branches we've acquired, there's a lot of deferred maintenance, and that the grazing infrastructure ties in with that. So a lot of our bigger properties are also, we have leases with local cattle ranchers to graze them, and that's important for fuels management and helping some of the native plants, because there's a lot of biomass on the landscape that is non-native, and controlling that biomass is important for, especially in the serpentine soils, to allow the native flowers to be successful. So we've done a lot of surveys for species and a lot of invasive plant management. Next slide. So we talked a little bit about 152 and the wildlife connectivity project. So first thing we're doing, we're going to be installing directional fencing on our properties that we own on both sides of the road to direct the wildlife to the existing undercrossings and culverts. To date, there's been several mountain lions and elk and badgers that have been killed on the road. So we're hoping the directional fencing will direct them to these safer places for them to cross the road. We're countering elk and lion to see how they're moving across that landscape. And we're in the process of doing the wildlife crossing planning and design. Next slide. And hopefully we'll be building something across the highway that looks a lot like what's shown in that picture there. Within the next 5 to 8 years would be our objective. Got to fundraise to build that one. Yeah. Next slide, please. And this is the species that was most at risk within the plan area was threatened with extirpation. So the habitat plan is set up to have these different tiers of action, and we're at tier 3, and part of that is all the reintroductions we're doing. So we're captively rearing and captively breeding growing owls, and then reintroducing them to areas that they used to exist in the Coyote Valley area and in North San Jose. So we negotiated agreements with county parks and Coast OSA to reintroduce birds on some of their properties. And as I noted, the EO report, it's at this 3rd year of reintroduction has been very successful, the most successful yet. We also have introduced an experimental population on Lakeside Ranch because it's a little higher in elevation. If the birds succeed there, that'll open up opportunities to do reintroductions at other reserve system properties. Next slide, please. So we've done a lot of restoration of the Pajaro River, Pacheco Creek, and the ponds. The stock ponds are important for the amphibians, red-legged frog, and tiger salamander, and the turtle. So that's the Pacheco Creek picture on the right there. That's our biggest project today. We're also designing these projects to allow project proponents to be able to get mitigation credit for the Clean Water Act. So instead of having to mitigate twice, they can pay our fees and then this restoration project will serve as advanced mitigation for their impacts. Next slide. Here's some of the other programs. The in lieu fee program is the one aligned with the Clean Water Act. We're working with Post to set up a environment, social, and government's pilot program in Santa Clara County. So that's working with the private sector. A lot of these corporations, with their charters and their directives from their board, want to mitigate their impacts. I mean, data centers are one for their use of water and power. How do they mitigate those impacts? And through ESG, so Post has a lot of connections with the donor world, the foundation world, and the corporate world. So they're trying to set up this pilot program with us that would allow for voluntary contributions and assist us and other organizations within our region to tap into that corporate funding. And we do mitigation only agreements, which is like Caltrans or PG&E who've had trouble trying to mitigate the impacts of their projects. They can go through our plan and we provide an opportunity for them to mitigate those impacts. It's usually with federal permits. Next slide, please. And that's just some of the cool plants and the bay checker spot butterfly you find throughout the plant area. Next slide, please. So goals and objectives for the fiscal year 26-27, and for fiscal and for, I don't know why I didn't write on for 25-26. That should have been there too. So continued prudent management of the Habitat Agency's funds or reserve funds and land acquisition endowment. Complete the Habitat Plan Amendment, which is critical for efficient and effective implementation. Continue to work with folks in the water plan and that ESG stuff. Continue to assist in the development of their comprehensive LiDAR related imagery project. We're trying to figure out how to integrate AI in what we're doing. I mean, I can type an email and little things like that, but we're trying to look at how we can do it more robustly, to be able to do things more efficiently and free staff up to do other things. Next slide. So advocacy is a big part of my job, so we continue to make trips to Washington and Sacramento. Continue to work with NGOs. They're an important part of our important partners in our land acquisition efforts. The Wildlife Crossing, the design and planning phase, start the fundraising phase. There's a third phase to Ohio River phase 3 restoration, which will be completed in this. We hope to complete that. And then secure interagency review team that's tied in with the NP program and water regulator. Move on restoration sites advanced mitigation. Next slide, please. So complete the rollout of our new database. Work with county parks to enroll another one of their properties in the reserve system. Negotiate the acquisition of another large ranch property. We're currently engaged with Post on that one, so that's one I'm fairly confident will happen. And look at creating new breeding colonies of burrowing owls in the plant area. Next slide, please. So fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27 draft budget gives the Habitat Agency financial resources necessary to accomplish the goals and objectives outlined above. Next slide. And the next one. So this is our proposed budget. It shows the last fiscal year estimates, which I show where total revenues were projected to be and where they're actual now. So we've done better with our revenues than we anticipated in the last fiscal year. And then we're looking at 25, 26, we're anticipating just under 9 million in revenues, and for 26, 27, we're anticipating, and these are projections based on what we think some development projects coming in, so we really don't know if they'll come in, but by talking to our partners, we have a general idea that we think that's what the fee revenues will be. And then the grant revenues, given what's going on in Washington and belt tightening in Sacramento, it's kind of hard to say. It's a good thing Prop 4 passed, because that is a secure source of funding for us and a lot of other folks. So total revenues in the second year of the budget, we're anticipating to be a little under, a little over 8 million, excuse me. Next slide, please. And that's just showing a bar chart showing the same thing and where the fees are coming from primarily. In land cover fees are the majority of the fees paid. Next slide. And this is showing the expense side. So we're anticipating, and it's good that most of the thing, most of what we're spending our money on is in the conservation strategy implementation. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Mitigation fees come in. Total estimated expenses, a little over 10 million is what we anticipate for next year, and around 6.2 million for the 26, 27 fiscal year. Next slide. So estimated expenses, that's just showing you a bar chart. And the good news is the green, that's what we should be spending our money on. Where the, I guess it's multiple colors basically, but that one in the middle, it's good that we're spending it on the conservation strategy implementation. Next slide. And this just shows some historic expenses. Next slide. So one of the items today is the Surplus Land Act that we're asking you to act on, and that's selling the old ranch house of the Richmond property. And we estimate we can get around $3 million for selling the old ranch house. It's a 4.5 acre parcel with a ranch house, secondary dwelling unit, and a couple barns. So, but given its location, talk to a broker, I think we can sell it for around 7 or 3, 7 maybe. But
Is it livable in the house?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's in dire need of repair. It's an old bungalow style ranch house.
Okay.
The secondary dwelling unit where the current tenant is living, he is in really need of it. It's probably might be demolished. I guess it depends on who takes it over, but us maintaining it or keeping it, so we're turning a liability into an asset. So we estimate we're going to get around 3 million for selling that, and then that money will be plowed into land management activities. Land acquisitions, it kind of gives you an idea. The larger amount, second year reflects hopefully us acquiring a larger branch property. Next slide. This shows the kind of the contributions to the endowment based on the fee revenues that will be coming in. And if I'm going too fast, just stop me. So this shows that, and that we're estimating that we'll have a slight surplus both fiscal years, but it's really dependent upon those projects. And I think the first fiscal year, I'm confident that that's accurate based on the Microsoft data center project going in the Alviso area and some other ones. The second one is, me looking at a crystal ball based on some, conversations that we've heard about projects that are coming in, and including some power there's a lot of stuff that the council, you know, you as city council people know about. Who had a lot of meetings with Atlas Power and others who are trying to develop, improve the grid here. So those projects could have some significant impacts on the landscape. And if they do come in as we anticipate them to come in, as well as some of these builder remedy projects that, you know, mixed bag also. That's where we're coming up with that larger number here too. Next slide, please. It's okay. So the recommended action is governing board adoption of the draft Habitat Agency budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do have a few questions. I
Absolutely.
didn't want to interrupt too much, but. Let's get there. Okay, on slide number 20, okay. It's projected revenue.
Yeah, pull that up here. Okay.
Okay, in the year 26, 27,
Yeah.
You
So-
have-
So you're looking at the bar chart then?
I'm looking at. oh,
Yes.
shit.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, wait a minute, now I lost it. Okay, hold on.
Sorry about that.
No. This is just my little home iPad, it's not my good iPad. Okay, anyway, you have it color coded by different things.
Yes.
And, I noticed that in 26, 27, there's now a pink line, which there never was on the other years, and it says admin PSE fees. What is that?
Yeah, so those are fees that we charge to participating special entities, so school districts, other government entities, utilities can so they're not signatories to the plan, but they can use the plan to mitigate their impacts within the plan area.
Got it, okay.
So we've done some with Caltrans, done a couple with PG&E, Valley Christian High School, San Jose Water. They have used the plan, so they tier off of the plan, and there's a process embedded within the plan that allows utilities and government entities who aren't signatories to use the plan. And it counts towards our take cap, so we're very careful. If they were impacting, let's say, a lot of seasonal wetlands, which we don't have a high cap for,
Mhm.
we probably wouldn't allow them to go through the plan. They'd have to seek permits separately. But
Okay,
usually the impacts are, you know, we have a big enough cushion within our take limits to allow them to use the plan. And that varies. Some years that represents a significant portion of our fee revenues, other years it's around zero.
so, yeah, looking at that chart, then the 2 years before, we didn't have any of that.
Correct.
Okay,
So that's probably representing this power, one of these projects that I was referring to. They would come in as a PSE,
Okay.
and that's it potentially significant amount of money that would be, and the fees are a percentage of that fee is a percentage of the overall fees that they would have to pay. So Morgan Hill and Gilroy and the county and San Jose don't have to pay those fees because they're, you know, you're all part of our family, our universe.
Okay, thank you.
You're
for that
welcome.
explanation. And then on chart number 19,
19. Slide 19 or,
slide 19,
okay,
on BUOW fees.
burrowing owl.
Oh, bring out, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have, like, it's every other year, you skipped some years that.
Yeah, so this is the data center that's going in North San Jose.
Uh-huh,
That's why that number's there, and we're not anticipating anything in the second year. I could be 100% wrong on that, but that's kind of how it's gone. Don't ask me why. That's just the randomness that it's unintentional, but that's obviously, there's a pattern that you're observing.
Yes, okay, and this is revenue, so,
Correct.
yeah, so, in 24-25, it was 1 million.
Yes,
Okay, then nothing, and now for 25-26.
but the actual was 0 for 24-25.
Oh, so this is actually wrong.
Yeah, so we were wrong.
Okay, and, okay, so
Yeah.
will that be corrected?
No, we just won't collect growing owl fees this year. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
And-
so that, okay.
Yeah.
So that will affect the bottom line though, from total revenues. If it's 0.
Yes, but we did better in other categories, so if you look at serpentine fees, it was 1.4 million and we anticipated 300,000.
Okay. All righty. So, I think I had one more question. Okay, on chart number 22. Well, I think it's 22, yeah. Estimated expenses.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, I know you kind of went over this quickly. Explain to me why the green line is all of a sudden shot up to 8 million, so,
restoration projects,
okay,
fencing's
Okay.
expensive.
okay.
Yeah,
and-
but it was a couple of those, and the land bridge, the wildlife connectivity
Mhm.
project.
So will there be any more land bridges in the plan, in the next 2 years that you're working on? or
No, it's just this
Okay.
one.
It's just that
Small
one?
stuff, that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Yeah, because I know the
Yeah.
real low lines. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
all right,
And it's focused mainly on getting white lines across the highway.
right.
The bridge itself, if we do an overcrossing, it'll also benefit the elk.
That's great. Yeah, I just today got from Cal Cities, which used to be the League of California Cities. They're trying to pass a bill on these land bridges.
Yes.
Okay, I just read it today, so.
Yeah, I was talking yesterday to some of the advocates that are sponsoring the
Yeah, I
bill.
saw that, so.
Yeah, they
So,
were curious how to get it through.
so will you be working with them to, like, either going up there to advocate?
No, they just asked me for some advice.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
But it's good news that they're working on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so from my colleagues, are there any other questions? Okay, do we have any public comment on this?
No, no speakers.
Okay. And none of my colleagues online have any questions? Okay, so now we need a motion to approve.
Still moved.
Carol has made the motion.
Second.
Miriam has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, just like Mark, I can't remember that.
Okay, Livers,
Yes,
Campos,
Sorry, yes.
Marks,
Yes.
Vega,
Aye.
Young.
Yes.
okay, motion approved. Thank you. Moving on to item number 7. Declare surface Richmond Ranch parcel, and that's what you were just talking about.
Yes.
So is there a presentation online for that?
There is not, but if you
Okay.
have any questions, our attorney Valerie Armento or senior real estate analyst agent Robin Cohn are here to answer any questions. This is a new process for me, obviously. And so there's a kind of a step-by-step process you have to go through to declare, to be allowed to sell public land.
And from what you said, they were pretty dilapidated.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Well, the one house is, well, both. So we got an estimate to replace the roof on one of the houses. It was gonna cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000. Yeah, because it needed,
Is it a big house?
no.
It should be about 15.
It's what I thought, but we went to, so we sought multiple bids. And they all came back with the same answer. One said they wouldn't work on it because it needed, like the whole thing, like.
Structural?
Structural, right.
Right,
There's a historic barn there that also needs a new roof.
Okay.
The old ranch house, I've never been inside of it, so I can't comment, but it's an old kind of like 1920s style bungalow.
Okay.
But if the private entity or if, so through this process, one thing, if there's affordable housing advocates that would like to buy this property and, you know, build higher density housing there, they can step in and, you know, buy it and demolish what's there.
Yeah, that would be a county project though.
Yeah,
It's not within.
yeah,
Iron Hill.
no,
Okay.
it's on the edge of San Jose.
Yeah,
So
so-
it would probably be either San Jose or the county that potentially, or I don't see that happening, but we gotta go through this process just in case there's an entity that might be interested in buying the property
Okay.
and then building, you know, affordable housing out there.
Okay.
So we anticipated it'll go to, you know, it'll be an ML list property.
Right, okay, yeah. So if, let's say the county needs to meet their REMA numbers, okay? So they could swoop in, find a buyer like House Keys or something to build on that property. And it's how many acres?
4.5.
Okay, do we have any protection at all as fact that it is, you know, part of the habitat of, you know, this county, so.
Oh, you mean like the land that's on it? Is there, yeah, it has so old ranch house, it has a couple barns, it has some corrals, and it has the two houses and a couple other outbuildings. Yeah, it's just, from a habitat standpoint, it has no value. Yeah,
Okay, so you don't really care if you sell it?
no,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Sorry if I didn't make that clear.
Let's just say it didn't make me happy. I don't want to preserve the buildings, but I
Yeah.
hate to give up land
Yeah,
to meet somebody's REMA numbers,
yeah,
which is how many housings they have to build. I would prefer to keep it, you know, as open space.
yeah, we would have to demolish everything on it. I mean, the historic barn has value, but it would cost us a couple $100,000 to fix up the historic barn. The demolition of the buildings would cost us several $100,000.
Okay.
To fix the buildings would cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I'm really interested in fixing them.
Yeah,
Knock them
so-
down, but
Yeah,
keep it as,
Yeah,
so we have no say if, that we can't say this is habitat land. We cannot sell it. I mean, it's our decision to sell it.
it's your decision
Okay.
to, you know.
Direct you in a-
Direct me to sell it. So it, from the habitat natural resource side, it
Mhm.
has zero value. It's urban development and it's on the edge of, the Silver Creek subdivision.
Okay.
So,
gotcha.
yeah, so it doesn't, yeah, if it had habitat value,
That's what I'm
yeah,
getting at.
so let's say it was a 50-acre property. and
because
the
it's only
house was
4,
Just this
yeah.
little bit here, and there were the red-legged frogs over there and the butterfly. We would probably, because as a government entity, we can create a new parcel. We would, if, you know, per the zoning of the city or the county, we would create a new parcel and just sell the house
Mhm.
and then keep the other,
Okay.
you know, 45. But this is just 4.5 acres. It's pretty hammered from a habitat standpoint. It's
Okay.
fine as a domestic dwelling. Yeah,
Okay, well, thank you for explaining it
Sure.
to me.
sure.
I'm all about not getting rid of open space.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's not open space.
well, I mean, but
Yes,
not in.
yes. Understood,
Okay, thank you.
understood, yeah.
All righty, so we have a motion from Carol, a second from Miriam, and now we need to hold the vote. Did we already vote? No, we didn't vote. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. Any more questions? Okay,
There's no speakers. No speakers. No.
okay, okay,
Levers,
yes,
Campos,
Yes.
Martz,
yes.
Vega. Yes. Young.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to, let's see, that was that one. Moving on to number 8. Which was the compensation for our executive director, and you said that was already approved. Do we approve it too?
So let me chime
I'll
in
let
here.
Yes, please. Hi.
Hi, so very briefly, the implementation board did its evaluation of Mr. Sullivan on both March 20th, and then they continued it to May 15th. They determined to give him a raise of 5% and a merit bonus of 4%, which is consistent with what's provided for in the contract that he has. It's required by law that there be a formal action, either by the implementation board or by the governing board, not on a consent calendar to approve this change in his compensation. So that's why this is before you, because the implementation board was originally expected to do its evaluation on the 20th of March and then act on May 15th. But since they continued the evaluation and the implementation board doesn't meet for another few months, we've put it on the governing board agenda.
So with our approval, it will be done then.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. So that's our last item. So we need a motion to approve that for the 5% executive officer and a reward, award merit bonus of 4%. So do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this? Okay, and any comment from the audience that's on Zoom? Okay, it sounds good to me. So, can we take a vote, please?
Levers,
Aye.
Gumballs,
Aye.
Marks, Yes. Vega,
Aye.
and Young.
Yes.
Motion approved. Okay. And we have one more item, report from the executive director or executive officer, and we actually already went through that. I don't know if you want to do it again, but we did go through that when we were kind of killing time to get a quorum. So what's your feeling on that? Do you want to redo it?
I would defer to the supervisor. If she would like to hear it, I'd gladly do it again.
Okay.
I'm okay. And colleagues, I apologize for being late. I was at a family reunification ceremony, and the parent testimonies of being reunified with their children was something I couldn't walk out of. But thank you for being so patient with me.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you.
No, thank you for fitting it in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
That was important what you were doing.
Right, so do we have any future agenda items that we would like to add? And I understand we're not meeting again until September or something, right?
Yeah, third Thursday in September.
Okay, any future agenda items? Anyone in Zoom land or here? Okay, well, I'll leave you to dream up something for us.
I'll think of something.
Okay, that's very cool. So with that, I'll adjourn.
Exciting times.
Okay.
I probably don't have to
Some new
think that
jokes,
much.
some dances.
Yes, I'll work on my,
Yeah, the jokes and the dancing and.
yes.
Okay, all right, with that, I'll adjourn the meeting and the time is 4:10 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.